Oh yeah.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Savannah's December 6th meeting. Our song today will be on the big screen. JP?
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now have the invocation.
I'm pleased to offer this prayer because John Neely, our speaker, is a member of First Presbyterian Church. Let us pray. Almighty God, who created the world and everything in it, we thank you for this gathering of Rotary, for good fellowship and a bounty of good food that sustains us. We thank you. As you command that to whom much is given, much is required, keep us mindful of those who lack the basics of safe and affordable housing. To your name be the glory. Amen.
Please be seated. All right, Rabbi Haas is here to welcome our members and guests.
Good morning, welcome. As it's the last day of Hanukkah, I want to wish everyone all the best for the Christmas season. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and I want you to know that I've enjoyed celebrating Christmas recently because my wife's family are all Catholic. So it's been a pleasure to celebrate Christmas, and it's just so much fun to really share in the traditions of drinking, eggs and singing, all these wonderful songs written by Jews. So it's really great to celebrate with all of you as a Jewish person. And I want you to know it's also a learning curve for my family. My mother-in-law is a diehard Catholic. She's an Indiana Catholic, which means you can insult anything about Catholicism except for, of course, Notre Dame. And so she's learning. And this last Christmas, for the first time ever, she gave my kids a present in Hanukkah wrapping paper. So it was so exciting that my kids got a Hanukkah present from their grandmother. It was so nice to watch them open it up and then take out that beautiful snow globe with Santa in it. Basically saying, on the outside you're Jewish, but we know on the inside you're still really Christian. That's my mother-in-law, yes. So Merry Christmas as we welcome all of our wonderful visitors. Of course, Ray Raybeck, who has been coming a long time, moved back here from Arlington. Great to see you as a visiting Rotarian. Todd Friesman, who is here from Pooler. Please rise when I call your name so we can welcome. And as for our guest, Kadeja Green, who is a student, welcome. Tom Taylor, who is retired but now working with Tiny Houses, a guest of Stephen Williams. Kadeja was a guest of Marjorie. Landria Michael, who's at Savannah State. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She's a guest of, is that right? Almost. Okay, for me, that's pretty good. A guest of Kimberly Washington, Zoe Rinker, and Grace Wilson from Savannah Tree Foundation. Michael Roach, T&H, guest of Jim Collins, and Carolyn Neely, wife of our speaker, both guests of Paul Presley. So let's please give them a Rotary welcome, everyone.
I'd also like to acknowledge the incoming district governor in 2 years from now, Todd Friesman. Congratulations on that new position. This requires a lot. So, okay, it is now time for our GRSP student to come up and give us an update. JP, you've got the video ready? Come on up.
Hello, everybody. I want to give you a short update on what I've been doing in the past few weeks. Can everybody hear me? Okay. So we'll start shortly. Yeah, November was quite fun, and I went to the homecoming game that we tragically lost. But it was my first football game, and I was pretty excited, and it was a beautiful day, as you can see. Then we had Halloween with Juliana. She's a GSP student from Brazil. She stays in St. Simon's. And we had a little Halloween party in my friends group. We all dressed up, as you can see. And then this was probably the most exciting trip so far. I went to Disney World with my trustee, who's actually here today. And here you can see a picture of me and his family. We also did a 10K at 6 a.m. in the morning. I never thought I would do that, but it was so much fun. I'm very thankful that I got to experience that. And we saw some otters. I'm a huge fan of otters. Fun fact. Yeah, and then we had a small Christmas lighting at my university. And I was very excited to finally get my first picture with Gus. He's our mascot. Yeah. And then we had a first official GSP weekend in Alpharetta. It was so cool to see everybody because due to COVID, we weren't able to do that before. We went bowling and to a small party and danced. It was like exciting and we had so much fun. Yeah, and then Thanksgiving break, I stayed with Michael and we had a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. It was my first Thanksgiving, so I was very excited to experience that. And then we baked cinnamon rolls at Sophie's host family. They have a really cool swing, and I like this picture a lot. So yeah, that was basically everything I've done in November. I'm very thankful that I'm able to experience that. And yeah, thank you very much.
So Celia will not be able to be at our Christmas or holiday party next week. And I did find out that it's her birthday on December 19th. So we bought you a cake, and it says, actually, JP, can you put it up there what it says? Who knows how to speak German? Oh, come on. Todd, can you officially say happy birthday to Here's your birthday cake. It's happy birthday. Okay, is Dr. Roland Summers here? I'll get him his pin next time. All right. Now I'm going to have Mike Trainer come up and talk about a party with a purpose.
I forgot what the podium was like up here in the actual flooring. You could easily go off the back. Yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about Party with the Purpose. This is on January 13th. It will be at the Thompson Hotel, the new hotel right there at Eastern Wharf, at Bar Julian on the top floor, which is, if you haven't been there, it's an incredible view of Savannah, a view that you probably haven't seen before or have not seen in a long time, but it's incredible. But thankfully, the board approved Union Mission being the beneficiary of that event. And many of you may have read in some of the media around town that Union Mission has partnered with Greg Parker and has named our new emergency housing program for unaccompanied homeless women, Parker's House. And this is going to benefit Parker's House. And what specifically the Rotary Club wants to accomplish is to purchase the bedding and bed frames that go in all the rooms. And why this is important is on an average night in Chatham County, there's 180 women that are homeless in our community. They're either on sofas, out on the street, and all around the community without housing. And There's not a program like this or a housing alternative like this from Florida to the South Carolina border along the I-95 corridor. And services for the homeless have been predominantly on families and men. And so this is a big deal because 70% of these women are victims of domestic violence. 40% of them are victims of sexual abuse. There are some services for these women, but it's where men are, and many of them don't want to go there. So this is going to be a big deal, and we appreciate those who have supported us already and those that will support us through this effort. And we're very excited to be bringing this program to help these women. We're going to serve 32 women at one time and over 100 over a course of a year. So this is going to be a great unduplicated program in our community. So thank you for your support of what we're doing here. And again, I want to thank those that have been donating for this project and the difference this is going to make in the community. So thank you very much.
So if you bought the raffle this morning, that also goes to his program. So we got a lot of money to raise. It's about $16,000. So it's a suggested donation of $25, but you're welcome to pay more for the party with a purpose. Okay, next we're going to have Bill Kelso come on up and talk about our holiday party that he has been planning for us. Come on up.
Good afternoon. Yes, I and others, we are pleased to be able to bring back the annual holiday party after I believe I've got a big voice, so I'm sure they can hear me. You have already received the Evite, but December 13th at 12 noon to 1:30 here at the DeSoto across the hall in the Oglethorpe Ballroom. It is all ours for an hour and a half. The hotel chef is creating apparently quite the menu for a buffet, and we will also have a cash bar there for those of you who would like to enjoy a holiday spirit. Our fundraising effort, as noted, is going to be for the for the Parker's House, but also we're asking members to bring children's books. We're going to have containers there to then get to the Live Oak libraries. Jackson Evans, a noted local solo guitarist, will be providing live background. And we're also going to showcase a vocalist or two who is going to provide special entertainment, helping us set up a very spirited holiday mood as we move forward. We're bringing back Rabbi Robert Haas to perform as MC for the services, and I'm told to fasten your seatbelt because we're not quite sure what that's going to look like. Space is limited. If you haven't RSVP'd yet, you would have received that email somewhere around November 26th, so go back, take a look. We'd love to have you there. We look forward to next Monday.
Okay, thank you, Bill. I'd now like to have Rick Belford to the podium to introduce our newest member.
Thank you, Marjorie. It's my pleasure today to introduce our newest Rotarian, Rob Jones. Rob is CEO of Sullivan Group HR. His classification will be business services and employee services. Sullivan provides payroll, HR, and employee benefits for small to mid-sized businesses. I tell you, it's really nice to have someone from Sullivan back in the club. Years ago, Martin Sullivan was a member, and also Tim Cooper. Rob was born in North Carolina and graduated from Appalachian State with a degree in archaeology. He spent 7 years in archaeology before coming to Savannah in 1998 and going with Sullivan. Rob, I'm sure that archaeology degree paid off in dealing with those two fossils, Martin and Tim. Rob is married to Jody, and they have 4 children. The eldest, Sam, is a student at Winthrop playing soccer. The other 3, Will, Eva, and Molly, are triplets. The two girls attend high school at Savannah Arts, and Will is at Islands High. Rob spends his spare time in activities with the triplets, theater, camping, etc. Let's welcome Rob Jones to our club.
Come on up, Rob. We got a red badge for you that you will wear for 6 months until you go through orientation.
Thank you.
And here's your packet with your bill. And I would just like to say, so the vision is together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Let's officially stand and welcome Rob Jones to the club.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, now I'd like to have Zoe come on up, Zoe, with the Savannah Tree Foundation. Our club has been very busy raising money for the Wormslow project. Of course, this is one of the first environmental projects with Rotary in our area. They just added it to the area of focus. And as of today, we have a check for you. But I just found out we have more coming, but we're going to be raising money until we hit the $37,000. But for today, we have $23,717 to get us going. So
Thank you so much.
you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your support in this and for helping to grow the canopy at Wormslow. It's just one of many places across Savannah that we're seeing an aging canopy, and I'm really excited to see so many people in our community come together to really try and grow our future. So thank you so much. Thank you. Yep. Say that for later?
No, you take it. Okay, so February 19th we're going to need a lot of volunteers to put in 30 trees this year, so hope I can count on a lot of you. All right, now we've got Captain will come up to the podium and introduce our speaker.
Good afternoon. I'm very pleased to introduce a fellow Rotarian, John Neely, a good friend of mine, to talk to us today about affordable housing in Chatham County. John recently retired, mostly retired, I think, from 30 plus years in commercial and industrial real estate with Colliers International in Savannah. Previously, he worked in economic development and downtown revitalization for the city of Milledgeville and for the city of Savannah. John has a bachelor's degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and a master's in public administration from the University of Georgia. With Rotary, John has served in several roles. He was the president of the Rotary Club of Savannah East, District 6920 Global Grants Chair, Group Study Exchange Team Leader for groups going to India and Brazil. He also hosted a GRSP student from Brazil. He participated in a national polio immunization drive in India. And more importantly, he was the district governor for our district in 2015 and 2016. Over the years, John has served in a number of civic organizations. He was the president of Leadership Savannah, chair of Savannah Development and Renewal Authority, board member, Savannah Historic District Board Review, board member, Step Up Savannah, and chair of the Chatham County Housing Coalition. John and his wife, Carolyn, who's here with us today, have 2 children and 5 grandchildren. Their daughter, Jordan Chase, was the organizing president of the Metro Savannah Rotary Club, and their son, Thomas, is an oil geologist in sunny Alaska. John's hobbies include boating, hiking in the mountains, tennis, and very importantly, pickleball. John was the one who brought pickleball to the art club and taught us all how to play. So he's my teacher in pickleball. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Captain. Yeah, I think I beat captain twice in pickleball. Once the very first day that he started playing pickleball, and then another time we were playing doubles and he had a very weak partner. And that's the only way to beat the guy. He is really one of the best pickleball players in Savannah. So I would discourage you from getting on the court with him. Whew, he is tough. So yeah, talking about retirement before jumping into our subject. It reminds me of this preacher friend of mine who retired after many years of service to his church and his community. And he finished and completed an amazing career. So what's the difference between complete and finished? Okay, so if you marry the right woman, your life is complete. If you marry the wrong woman, you're finished. But if you marry the right woman and start messing around with the wrong woman, you're completely finished. Anyway, they said I had to start off with a joke, so I'll, go with there. So, affordable housing. I'm not a particular expert in affordable housing. I just kind of got drafted into it with a small committee a few years ago. I've learned by doing and talking to other people, learning a lot from City of Savannah staff, which is amazing in terms of their expertise and the great programs they carry out. But like fellow Rotarians here, I'm sort of a do-gooder. So upon retirement, I had a little chunk of time, I suppose, and I devoted a little bit to dealing with an issue that is of growing importance in this community. You hear more and more about the need for affordable housing in Savannah. It's in the newspapers, TV shows. It seems like there's more and more discussion about it. There was a Zoom meeting that Stephen knows about several months ago, where they had, it was sponsored by churches and synagogues in town, and they had over 400 people, was it 4 or maybe more? 750 people on a Zoom call, talking with the mayor, pressuring them to spend more money on affordable housing. So it's in the air. So what's being done about it? Well, I'd like to talk with you today about what we jointly as a community can help solve the problem of not just homelessness. Michael, I'm sure, has talked to you all about what the great work that they're doing at the Homeless Authority, but their larger needs, they're the working families in this town that we need to pay attention to also. So when I look at a cause to get involved in, I want to first, is there a need? Very much there's a need. Secondly, will my personal effort and the effort of a small committee actually make a difference, do something, have some impact on the problem? And then finally, I like to see a personal hook. It may be for y'all, it may be some of your employees struggling with housing issues. It's very common, entry-level employees particularly, they might get evicted if they can't make the rent, can't pay the mortgage, et cetera. So for me, interestingly enough, my father was a Rotarian in Atlanta, and upon his retirement, he worked on elderly housing development in the Atlanta area. So that was just a little extra incentive for me to get involved with affordable housing here. So why is decent, safe, affordable housing important for families and individuals? Well, you may have heard the phrase housing first. Well, housing affects so many other aspects of our lives, families' lives, individuals' lives, health, the health of the family, the mental and physical health, whether or not they can keep their kids educated and in school and doing their homework, keeping a job, just creating the stability in the family life so that the family can prosper. I mean, that's just one of the fundamental, is housing a right or is it a privilege? Well, I'm thinking it's more of a right, kind of like healthcare. More and more, this nation is recognizing that it's that important, that it's a right. Everybody deserves decent, safe, affordable housing. Why is affordable housing important to the community? Well, employees, if they've got problems with at home, potentially the potential threat of homelessness or being evicted, if they are dealing with poverty issues, if they have transportation issues, if they are living in substandard conditions, will they just arrive at work distracted, and their brains are just not focused sometimes on the job. So it's in the community's interest to have employees living in businesses, employees living in safe, affordable housing. In 2018, Cindy Kelly, who's probably spoken to this group a time or two, director of the Homeless Authority, she and I were sat down and had coffee, and she threw out an idea that, given her experience in other cities, she thought we ought to create a housing coalition in Savannah. So we started talking, okay, who are the people that are interested in the subject? And we came up immediately with 5 or 6 folks, 10 folks, in fact. We got them together, and pretty soon there were 40 or 50 people meeting, talking about housing issues. Just talk about it. Just get together and talk about it. Bring in people who are experts, who know the facts about housing in the community. We divided into committees. We looked at trying to develop housing policies. We talked about development. How do you get affordable housing built? Fundraising. How do you raise bucks? Because it takes a lot of private bucks in addition to public bucks to build affordable housing. And advocacy. Once you decide what's needed in the community, go to those decision makers and try to change policy and make something happen. Well, the first thing that we did was to sort of document the need. And again, the city housing staff was terrifically helpful. Martin Freddy, I don't know if any of you have met him, or many of you, I expect, have met him. He's got a great background, very dedicated, and works hard, and he's got an excellent backup staff. But he helped point out a couple of things, well, several things, that housing costs in Savannah over the last 20 years have doubled. They've risen twice as fast as incomes have. I mean, that's a significant difference that puts the rents and mortgages just have gone way beyond what so many people can afford with their incomes, and income growth has just not been there. There are 21,000 households in Chatham County who pay more than 30% of their household income, gross household income, for housing. That's the HUD definition of being cost burdened in terms of affordability. So that's about 40% of the families in Savannah, Chatham County are paying too much and putting the squeeze on healthcare, on food, on transportation, on kids' education, et cetera. With current rents, a 2-person household would need to earn at least $50,000 a year to be able to afford decent, safe housing, simply from a rental point of view. A single person would need to earn at least $35,000 per year. So minimum wage just doesn't get it. You've really got to be earning a good bit more than that to be able to afford housing. The Housing Authority of Savannah has only about 3,500 either public housing units that they own and manage or Section 8 vouchers to offer for low and modest income families. They have a waiting list of about 10,000 or more. So that's just, the need is just not being met by the Housing Authority. In terms of the homeless in our community, at least 600 folks in this community are chronically homeless, meaning they are most of the year without a place to lay their heads. And there are about 4,000 in the community every year that are homeless for some period of time. So homelessness is an issue, and threat of eviction, obviously, is on many people's minds. Of course, the pandemic has only made these numbers worse. These numbers are a little bit outdated. So again, a definition of affordable housing is housing that costs no more than 30% of gross household income to rent or purchase. You also hear the term workforce housing sometimes. That's housing that costs no more than 30% of gross household income to rent or purchase and is occupied by working persons or households earning up to 120% of the area median income, and that's about $70,000 per year. Who are these people? Well, it's teachers, public employees, hospitality workers, waiters and dishwashers, forklift operators, healthcare workers, landscapers, entry-level employees. Many of these folks work for your businesses, and you know who they are, and you know perhaps the struggles that they go through. So, given that we've got a dire situation in the community in terms of housing, I see reason for hope. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people talking about housing in the community, which is great. The public awareness, newspapers, it's on everybody's minds, as I've said before. The city budget, you may have read in the newspaper, our new city manager, and boy, has he spoken to the club? Jay Melder? Not yet. Well, you're in for a treat. He's great. He's excellent. He comes with a great background in housing from Washington, D.C., and I've met with him, and he is very committed to changing the game in terms of housing in this community. He has proposed, in the upcoming city budget for 2022, he has proposed $19.1 million in housing funding for various programs that the city carries out. A good portion of that is from the, I guess it's the American Rescue Plan, the federal dollars that are being shared with cities and states. But again, it shows a major commitment on the part of the city, and City Council, I believe, hopefully will adopt a budget that includes that. You may have heard about the Housing Savannah Task Force that Mayor Van Johnson appointed probably almost a year ago now. And there were 35, 40 people that got together from different backgrounds and talked about housing issues and strategies, a lot of the same stuff that we've been talking about for 2 or 3 years with the Housing Coalition. Well, they came up with what's called the Housing Savannah Action Plan. It's an excellent document. I encourage you to go to, if you have an interest, to go to the city's website and go to the Department of Housing and Community Development. And there's all kinds of stuff in there that can help educate you about the issues and give you ideas and solutions that you as businesses perhaps can begin to carry out yourselves, or somehow ways that you can get involved. The city housing programs, as I said, they do a great job. There's one particular vehicle that they use called the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund. A lot of businesses and nonprofits and philanthropies are partners with them on this fund, and it's using city dollars that are not tied to federal strings. It's a very flexible program. They do loans and grants, for instance, to low-income, modest-wage families that to fix the roof, to put in a new bathroom, to do a handicap ramp, et cetera, so folks can stay in their homes longer. And they're working very much on removing blight also, tearing down structures that are heirs' property that nobody claims, that just are dilapidated. So they're trying to tear down the old and that's no longer functional and build new. The Housing Authority, I would suggest that y'all pay attention to what they're up to. They're sort of reinventing themselves. There's no more federal money for building public housing. There's a mechanism called the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program. So Housing Authority is partnering with private developers to basically tear down their old dysfunctional units. I mean, go and build new garden-style apartments. Go over on the east side of downtown, and out Oglethorpe and out Wheaton, and there's some wonderful new units that have been built that that are creating a new image for the housing authority. And I know that they've set their sights on the Yamacraw Village in terms of redevelopment there. There's a lot of extra property there, also out at Kate and Fraser, further out MLK, where it may take a few years, but I think both those projects will be totally transformed in the next 5 to 8 to 10 years. The Homeless Authority has been doing great things. Their tiny house project has been fun to watch. Our Rotary Club is going to go on our Christmas party this Wednesday. We're going to go in a van, in a trolley down there, and we're going to sing Christmas carols like we did last year. And they come out, and it's a fun deal. They're proud to live there, and that's a project which hopefully this community will continue to expand on. Private developers have been responding to the need through this LIHTC, as it's called, Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program. It really is the only federal game in town for constructing new affordable units. It allows developers to build housing, standard basic housing, that rents for maybe $700 to $800 a month, whereas market rents are in the range of $1,200, $1,500, downtown area, maybe $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom unit. So developers are required to keep the rents low for 15 years. So that's a great program. It's very competitive statewide, but this community has had some success in the past with developers, and hopefully will do more. Another fun project that the city has helped put together, along with the hospitals and several other employers, is a homeowner loan program where the employer will provide funds for a down payment for an employee to buy a house, to go from a renter to a homeowner. $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 can be a lot of money for folks to put down to be able to become a homeowner. Ask Paul Hinchy about the program, and I think you've done more than 50 loans like that, which helps to build stable employees, et cetera. But in the past, this community has only created an average of 500, maybe 600 units, rehabilitated or new units per year for the past 10 years or so. And the need is for 21,000. So we need to do more. We need to do something different than we've been doing in the past. So I would invite you again to dig into the Housing Savannah Action Plan. The goal of that document is quite thick, but there's a lot of meat in there, is to create 15,000 housing units over the next 10 years. Some people say it's aspirational, but it's achievable. With public-private partnerships, with dedicated funding from the city and the private developers and private nonprofits stepping up to participate in the construction. Some of the basic strategies, if sort of not surprising, that are outlined in the action plan: educate the community. That's kind of what we're doing today. Work on policy changes at the city and the state level. Streamline permitting for affordable housing projects. Make changes to zoning so you don't have such heavy parking requirements, for instance, for affordable housing. Increase density on lots. Maybe create specific incentives for private developers to build affordable housing. Again, it strongly emphasizes public-private partnerships, but greatly expanded, and more dollars, more public and private dollars. The plan calls for $24 million in 2022, rising to $100 million in 2032. So it's looking at a major commitment. Now this is the sum total of both private and public funds coming together. Private sector is a key to building new units. They've got to be involved. But the city's there to back you up, to provide support, to provide incentives, to build infrastructure, et cetera. So how can you help if you're interested? If I don't know, I bet there's maybe a handful of you folks out here that said, yeah, I think I want to maybe do a little bit more, learn more, get more involved. Well, join the Housing Coalition. Give me your name and we'll put you on the email list. Go to the city's website. See what you can learn from the Savannah the action plan. Talk to city staff. They're available and an excellent source. Lobby for the city to pass the $19.1 million housing budget. It's coming up here real soon, this week even. Contribute to, if you're inclined, to the Savannah Affordable Housing Fund. There are probably 30 businesses and nonprofits that do it on an annual basis. It's such a great program. Here's an interesting one for you real estate folks, would be to help us find sites to build affordable housing. It's tough to find something with proper zoning, that's not wetlands, where the community doesn't just fight it tooth and nail. So if you think of a site that you think might work for it could be anywhere from a fourplex to 100 units of affordable housing. Let me know or get in touch with the city. And then when projects are proposed around town, I'm sure that often it shows up in the newspaper or on TV. Examine it, study it, and if you're in favor of it, let your city council know, or let the Planning and Zoning Commission know that we need to follow through to try to push a project to happen. NIMBY, not in my backyard, is just such a strong force that it's an inertia. Well, we got to have the courage sometimes to do something different and make it happen. Their success stories, I mean, look at Savannah Gardens, right out B Road. I mean, that's just a beautiful facility, and the family's there, and they have lots of services, and they're great examples of new garden-style apartments that it took a lot of folks, a lot of effort, public and private, to make something like that happen. Accessory dwelling units is an interesting thing that there's been a lot of conversation about. A number of houses might be scattered around town, might have large lots, and you could build an attached or detached house on the back, small, less expensive, and you could rent it out to a teacher or a fireman or whoever. It's another little way that individuals can perhaps participate. Or how about getting a group from, I know this group isn't a real hands-on group, but how about volunteering for Habitat for Community? Habitat for Humanity, or the Tiny House Project. Maybe you could get 5 or 10 folks together. But if you don't want to do that, just write a check. That's okay too. So they told me not to ask for money, but I'm going to put that plug in. Anyway, I'd be glad to answer questions now or later. But I appreciate your attention and that all that you do for the community. So I just would encourage you to inform yourselves, get involved if you care to, and feel free to be in touch with me, and I'll be glad to plug you in one way or another. Thanks a lot.
I have always known John Neely as service above self. You're such a wonderful Rotarian, and your heart, you're continuing to do it throughout the community. It's really important. So on behalf of the Rotary Club of Savannah, we have a little seedling from the Candler Oak. It's the 300-year-old tree, and you could maybe plant it at one of the homes.
Wonderful. I've got a place. Well, my wife may want it at home, but.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Okay, we've got a few announcements. First of all, I want to thank John Helmkin for helping us to raise over $1,300 last week with CART. Thank you, John. That was awesome. And Eddie, I want to thank you for having your wife sew this silver, I don't know what it is. The silver award onto the banner. Ted Kleisner, President Ted Kleisner, worked very hard last year to get it, and then we finally got it up on the banner. It looks wonderful. Thank you. And let's see. I heard Larry ran the End Market race this weekend. I saw it on social media, and it said, and he didn't throw up. So very good. Congratulations. Okay. And last of all, we will see you all next week at the holiday party, and meeting adjourned. That was wonderful. So informative. Thank you.